Rev up your engine! Well, if you're ever thinking about buying a Mazda 3, you gotta watch this video because you're gonna learn all about them. The truth, good, bad, ugly. Now, the Mazda 3 was the replacement of the 323, which is kind of a chintzy, cheap little car. I mean, it could run okay. They had transmission problems and everything, but this is a big seller for Mazda now. They're selling millions of these things. It's pretty good value, actually, and this guy was really smart. He bought it used for 20 grand. You can see it's in excellent shape. There's absolutely nothing wrong with buying a car used and saving even more money. That low mileage thing, 30,000 miles or so on it. There's plenty of life left in this car. And you can see the interior. Chrome, I mean, they are nice cars. Sunroof, and under the hood, it's got the Skyactiv technology 4-cylinder engine. And in this case, it's not turbocharged. So, that's actually a good thing if you want long life. Rather than go the route of a tiny engine, this is a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine. A nice size. They got plenty of get up and go, but not being turbocharged, they're going to last a lot longer. There's less stress on the engine. And being all-wheel drive, you're never going to get stuck in the snow. It's going to handle better in the rain. It's a system you don't have to do anything except drive it. Now, as I said in the past, Mazda's had problems with their automatic transmissions, but Toyota owns a certain part of Mazda. They share a lot of technology, and that's not the case with Mazdas anymore. So you don't have to worry about the engine lasting a long time, but the tranny breaking down. That's not a problem that these have. If you know anything about the old 323s, their automatic transmissions were garbage. I would see them break all the time on customers' cars. They'd usually end up junking the car. They didn't want to spend thousands fixing it. This, as you can see by the looks, it's a much better looking car. I mean, there's an old one. See how ugly they were? I mean, these are nice looking cars, and they have much better engineering than the old ones did too. For the money, you're getting your money's worth as far as I'm concerned with these. I always get people that say, why did you buy a Mazda instead of a Toyota or a Honda? And invariably, the answer would be, it costs a lot less. The advantage of buying a vehicle like this Mazda that's pretty well made, and we're gonna find out all the interiors when I plug my fancy scan tool in, but the big advantage is Mazda does not have a name like Toyota and Honda. Hence, you are going to pay less money for the car. That's just how it goes. To give you an analogy, the other day a guy brought me the BMW sports car that's exactly the same as the Toyota Supra. Of course, the Toyota Supra isn't a Toyota, it's a BMW. So basically the Supra and the BMW are the same car, but he bought a used BMW version of the Toyota Supra. He got that thing for like 30 grand. If it would have been the Supra, it would have been closer to 45 or 50 because Toyota's got a name and people are like, oh, it's a Toyota sports car. And some people are so stupid, they don't even know that the Toyota Supra is a BMW. It has nothing to do with Toyota. They can give you all the horse manure in the world about, oh, well, this is the difference between them. No, but you can get the BMW cheaper because BMWs have an image of being endless money pits as they age, so their resale values are relatively low. And even though the Toyota Supra and this BMW, the same exact car, he saved a ton of money buying a BMW. It doesn't say Toyota, but it's the same car. Now in this case, it's not the same car, it's the Mazda 3, and it can be an excellent car, but they don't have the image that Toyota and Honda has. Hence, for 20 grand, you can get a really nice car. If this had been an equivalent Toyota, you'd be talking anywhere from 5 to 10 grand more than what he paid. And hey, these things can last a long time. So one of the big selling points of these things are you can, especially used, get a better deal. Now, when you're buying stuff new these days, the price differential isn't much in any of them, which really has me wondering, why would anybody buy a Kia? You buy Kias because they cost a lot less back in the day. But now I've seen a Kia equivalent to like a Toyota Corolla. Sometimes the Kia actually costs 500 bucks more. Why the heck would you buy a Kia when you could get a Toyota Corolla as an equivalent car for less money? You have to be insane. Right? But in this case, getting more, and you're actually paying less because Mazda doesn't have that image. Now, he hasn't had a lick of problems with it. You know, he bought it with 30,000 miles on it, so it's not like you expect to have a problem. The one thing you're going to worry about is long life. How is it going to hold up? And from my experience with these things, they hold up quite well. The trannies don't break like the old Mazdas did. The electronics are pretty reliable. And they share a lot of engineering with Toyota now, and it shows. There we go. We're going to analyze this thing with the fancy scan tool. Okay, read the VIN number, and it's a Mazda 3 2.5 liter. Now it's setting itself up, and while it's setting up, we can see it's got a really nice setup on the dash. Tax in the right place, all the information's right, the speedometer's right in the middle. It's got a nice little monitor there with an interesting fake analog clock. It's digital, but it looks like it's analog. And very comfortable seats too. And as you can see, we can do a full topology of all the CAN systems. So that's doing that. Look, lots of room. That slides all over. It does have the modern garbage that I hate. Electronic parking brakes, but they're all going to that nonsense. So you can do sport if you want to drive like a maniac, play with the speakers. It's a nicely set up car. Unlike its predecessor, the Mazda 323, that was a cheap little runabout. This is a nice car inside. I expected there's no trouble codes. I mean, 34,464 miles. So we'll look at some live data just for kicks, and we know there's not going to be anything wrong with it, but these are Skyactiv systems, are relatively complex. They've got all kinds of information, so if you ever buy one, you need a guy like me and a machine like this to fix it if it ever does break. Black is good, red is bad. I'm sure everything's going to be black. Shows you the variable valve timing control, intake and exhaust. It even shows you the commanded fuel rail pressure. Of course, there's no misfires. It even gives you information on the electronic variable air compressor, showing that it's working at 27.85%. Yes, even the air conditioning compressor is run by computers. Everything is computerized. That's how they can get so much power and get decent gas mileage, by even making the air conditioner more efficient. Everything squeezes that last drop of gas out. Even shows you the engine oil level, the engine oil pressure, and even the fuel injected amount, milligrams per cylinder. You get lots of data on these Skyactiv systems. When they do break, you need to understand how it all works. And without a machine like this, you might as well not let anybody under your hood if you got a problem. Unless they know what I know and have a machine like this. And look at this, long-term fuel trim, 0. It even shows you the thermostat monitor heat radiation ratio. I'm telling you, these are complex cars. So let's take it for a spin. So there's a modern car. We gotta turn the dumb parking brake off. I hate those things. Too much complexity. And this is a car that lives on the East Coast. Guess what's gonna happen eventually? The salt will rust the electronic parking brake and cost a fortune to fix. That's why I hate those things. It's got a nice heads-up monitor. It shows we're going 4 miles an hour. You can see we're going 0. Now it shows we're going 1. Nice little heads up. Relatively low to the ground, so the giant bump will go slow. And here we go. Now they call them zoom zooms. They're good for zooming around in. Realize though, it is a short wheelbase, so you're gonna feel bumps. Here's the bumpy roads, and it rides over them fine, but you're gonna feel them because it's a short wheelbase car, and it is all-wheel drive. So, you know, it's not going to ride like a Lexus. It's a sporty little car though. Now remember, this is all-wheel drive. Look, it's got the stop sign that it reads, and so we saw that. Cameras galore. People are coming every 2 seconds here. All right, here we go. We'll floor it in. Hey, yes, it zooms. And if you notice, you could barely hear or feel the shift. Extremely well-designed electronic transmission. It shifts like a dream. It's nothing like the old stuff Mazda has. Their engineers have gone a long way. And if you drive like me, you'll see you're always driving too fast because it shows you the speed limit. And I'm always driving over it, so at least your wife can't see it. Because you can't see it sitting over here. If you're a person who does California stops all the time, check it out. It's a heads-up display, and it says stop. Now for a smaller car, hey, it's also pretty quiet inside. The only thing we're hearing here are the dividers on the horrible Rhode Island roads that they don't seem to want to fix. Other than that, it's extremely quiet. A Mazda 3 all-wheel drive, pretty impressive for a $20,000 car that only had 30,000 miles on it. Everything on it works fine. Yes, it's a smaller wheelbase car. It's going to be somewhat rough when you're on bumpy roads. That's just the way small cars are. Plenty of zip without a turbo. Beautiful looking interior, beautiful looking exterior, and unlike the Mazdas of decades ago, they're a lot more solid built. Still, they don't have the image that Toyota or Honda has, so you can get a used one and you can save quite a bit of money and still get an excellent car like he did. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.